Since Donald Trump has been President of the United States, what negative impacts has him being president caused you personally? I can no longer casually talk about politics to just about anyone. Edit, duck, I can't even mention not being able to talk about politics anymore. My professor was prevented from re-entering the US after he left for a wedding. So while everyone in that class automatically passed, nobody actually learned what we came there for. I take care of my girlfriend who is disabled. Our food stamps were cut by $100 a month few months ago. Other users of her disability also reported SNAP cuts. So, almost including myself, I can personally name 11 scientists who are leaving the country because of Apatow stripping as well as the general anti-science movement Republicans are fostering. The company I used to work at as a scientist was dissolved when Pruitt cut the funding for our small business provision. I happened to land a dream job very quickly. Most of my colleagues weren't so lucky and have since moved elsewhere around the globe for better opportunity. It's not just my industry, science and engineering jobs are leaving the US en masse. I travel for work, and I would get so many dirty looks if it came to light I was American. I now keep a Canadian flag patch on my travel bags because it makes things easier. I used to be proud to be an American. The Onion's articles just don't have the same quality to them anymore. Frown. On the other hand, Reddit the Onion is having a golden era. Under the Trump administration and Jeff Sessions, the DEA threatened publicly to raid my company. We are a legally operating FDA-regulated hemp extract company who mostly supplies children with seizure disorders CBD extracts that allows them to live a more normal life. Sort of off topic, but thank you for providing a safe alternative to the seizure drugs that never helped me and I've only had terrible reactions to, and I've tried 7 of them. I'm sure your hemp extract is helping children everywhere. Smile. Back on topic, I hope everything goes well with your company. Wife works for a large Japanese tractor manufacturer. Most everyone there voted for Trump. Now their company is facing multi-million-dollar tariff increases. The interesting thing is John Deere faces no tariffs because they make everything overseas and imports the whole unit. Wife's company imports parts and materials, hires Americans and is taxed more. But hey, we're great again. Edit, was talking shit about John Deere unjustly. I apologize. But the penalties for her business still apply. Also don't know what gold is, but it sounds cool, so thanks. This what a lot of people don't understand. BMW, Mercedes, Toyota, etc. have massive manufacturing plants all over American towns, employing thousands of working-class Americans from their respective towns. These are usually rural and conservative Republican voters. Meanwhile, some American manufacturers will for a good part run their operations from Mexico, hiring working-class Mexicans. This means the Made in America or American-born is actually giving financial incentives and jobs to non-Americans, while the foreign German and Japanese manufacturers employ thousands of Americans, yet the foreign companies are the ones that get tariffs. Completely ridiculous. Right on the head. I've never understood the logic of buy American when it's made elsewhere. I actually once got into an argument with someone over at Rotkarsholdebuy and spent way too much time trying to make the op understand that I should have. The op wanted an American car but couldn't understand the fact that a Honda and a Toyota was actually made in USA and had more American parts than some Chevrolet, which are made in Canada or Mexico and used much lower percentage of American parts, to the tune of almost 30 to 40% less. That Highlander that your Asian neighbor drives contributes more to the American economy than your American Dodge pickup truck. It is amazing how thick some people can be. Mind-blowingly amazing. That dude sounds like he wanted a classic American brand car and had already made his mind up. He just wanted you to agree with him. My cousin works at a government acronym in DC. There's a hiring freeze in place by Trump, and a lot of good people in middle and upper management have left and not been replaced. As a result, she's doing 5 people's jobs and morale is in the shitter. I'm a Fed scientist and this is also the biggest issue for my agency. A lot of the older folks who are retiring are the support staff with mission-critical functions, handling travel or purchasing. Since the federal government is a morass with lots of rules, it's hard to replace these people with this important knowledge, and the few support people left are stretched too thin. The hiring freeze is gone, but now they are limited to strategic hiring, which means that it is still very hard to open any new positions. We aren't a top-heavy organization or one that has useless hangers-on that are riding out till retirement, so it's just more work with fewer people. But we all feel passionate about protecting public health, so we will keep going until the axe falls. But we all feel passionate about protecting public health, so we will keep going until the axe falls. This is what people don't understand about public servants when they deride them as bureaucrats, deep state, and so forth. They're not employees basically living the high life on the public's dime, they're actual people who care about working for the public good and making society better. God bless the Leslies of this world. Nope 2018. I work for a steel manufacturer in Canada. I've had to raise prices on all our raw steel going to our American customers, and they are starting to get annoying because they don't seem to understand that we simply won't eat the cost increase. They are angry and confused because we are just passing the price increase along to the end user. I work for a supplier as well. The ironic thing is that the US doesn't have enough steel capacity to support itself. So the net effect is that the US pays more for steel and screws itself on any manufacturing. Anybody with any basic understanding of international trade would know this. It's crazy. Edit, I saw a lot of replies indicating that the result of the tariff is that the US starts manufacturing its own steel. As an engineer that works in mining, here is the situation: to build a steel mill from scratch is a huge undertaking. It takes several years to do environmental assessments, which often stalls progress. Plus there's social license, getting the buy-in from the community, and the negotiations with the Aboriginal communities. Figuring out the supply chain, where you gonna get the ore from? Next comes engineering feasibility studies, then capital approval from the financing companies. If it passes capital approval, which it definitely won't, we're talking $4+ billion investment here at the low end. Then detail engineering, then procurement, then construction, then commissioning, then ramp up. We are talking about at least 10 years to get a functioning steel mill that's contributing to supply. It's not like turning on a light switch. The US market has evolved to higher end, and higher margin, manufacturing. Doing what Trump did is a huge step backwards. Protectionist policies don't really work when there is no industry left to protect. This is the issue with Brexit in the UK. All our large industry is owned by international companies, predominantly European. Once Brexit happens, they've already stated they'll leave in droves, and they already are. But it's already broken the exchange rate and made our products way too expensive, as we have to import all our raw materials. Then a basic tariff when we fall out of Europe without a deal, and suddenly any tiny industry we have left is wiped out. I work as an immigration attorney. Work has always been stressful. Always. These last 2 years have been so much worse. There is a constant chaos and anxiety because long-standing policies and procedures have taken a backseat. I have the privilege of saying that from the seat of a natural-born citizen. My clients have it so much worse. They are freaking out because of news reports or anecdotes which are only sometimes well-grounded in fact or law. Reassuring them has taken so much more time. Meanwhile, the immigration courts are more backlogged and processing times on administrative applications are through the roof. So I have more cases pending. Court cases are being called up arbitrarily, called up as in our next setting was set for 2019, or later, and we will get 3 weeks' notice that trial has been reset sooner. Discretion has gone out the door and the administrative officers have become gatekeepers rather than adjudicators. I have cases of siblings in identical legal positions. I do not say identical lightly, where one case is approved and the other denied. Jeff Sessions is a troll in every sense of the word. He is single-handedly rewriting immigration law to suit his vision. These are laws decided over the course of decades by judges and Congress. It is obscene. Edit, deleted my comment because I have way too much personal info. My father did too. Canadian, and he's been here since he was a kid. Got drafted in Nam. Trump scared him enough to finally do it though. I work at a university with a large percentage of international students. Thanks to the travel ban and general fear of coming here, international enrollment is down. This means we may have to shut down certain graduate programs that rely on these students and their tuition. It also means domestic students won't receive the funding they normally would. It is incredibly short-sighted not to realize that these things affect our own population as much as the international community. I'm a US citizen working for a US company, but I live in New Zealand. Every year the entire company flies to a resort for a conference paid for by our employer. We have some meetings, but it's also a lot of fun included. One of my team members was denied a visa because he's from Iran. It sucks. 2 years ago he flew to the US for a week of training, but now he's denied the benefits the rest of his colleagues get to enjoy. I'm an international student from Bahrain and that scares me. I used to get my visa easily and during freshman year, All the internship and job recruiters were keen on taking me once I took specific courses, great GPA, good at interviews, and I tend to do my research. But lately all the recruiters now seem to be turned off while I'm giving my elevator speech because I'm from the Middle East. For example, one lady that was tabling stopped talking to me midway in a very abrupt way. It was weird. I actually went to the career counselor's office as soon as possible to talk about it. My country is pretty good, but it's hell if you're from a non-prestige family and looking for any sort of experience. I also happen to have a major that is high in demand. I don't hate Trump to be honest, but I don't feel that welcome anymore.